In 1947,
If you want to buy $1, you just have to pay 1 rupee. But today, if you want to buy a dollar, you have to spend 87 rupees. Indian rupee is dying. In February 3rd, 2025, Indian rupee hits all-time low. But this is not just other currency drop. This has happened only 5 times in our history. Each time India faced economic disaster. It happened in 1966 after we have war with the China and Pakistan. It happened in 1991 when India was few days to bankruptcy. And in 2008, rupee crashed just because global financial crisis.
Fear is extraordinarily contagious, and we saw that in September of 2008 like we.
Then we seen the biggest rupee crash in 2022 post-COVID and Russia-Ukraine war.
Now Russia appears to be threatening a full-blown military offensive, deploying more than 100,000 troops, weapons and fighter jets to the border.
Now in 2025, it's happening again, but this time it could be even worse. Foreign investors selling Indian stock markets, oil prices are skyrocketing, and India losing foreign reserves. This rupee crash and foreign institutional investors leaving the country, Indian foreign reserves going down. Is this just a temporary economic shift, or is something far more dangerous at play? More importantly, how will this impact your money, your savings, and your future? The year is 1540. The Mughal Empire has been defeated. A new leader rised. That's Sher Shah Suri, the warrior who conquered the Mughal Empire. But he wasn't just conqueror. He had a great vision. Before him, India was a land divided into different kingdoms, different currencies and coins. Trade was just nightmare. Merchants struggled and the economy was a mess. But Sher Shah Suri has a bold idea and he implements the one empire, one coin and one system, and he is the one who created the rupee, and that changed the Indian trade forever. The coin was 11.53 grams of pure silver, and it was the trust across the empires, and that's the foundation of the Indian currency we use today. And from the Mughals to Marathas, from Rajputs to Nizams, the rupee remained as a backbone of the trade. In 1800s, British East India Company take over the Indian economy and they made the British Indian rupee as official currency in India. They started controlling Indian wealth, but here is the biggest catch. Rupee was backed by silver and British pound was backed by gold. In late 1800s, India faced financial disaster. The world moved towards the gold standards. Back then, most powerful economies backed their currency with gold, not with silver. But we be backed by the silver. And suddenly one day silver prices started crashing. As a result, rupee lost its value, and this was disastrous for India. Just because India has to pay more for its imports, the British Empire started become stronger. Meanwhile, Indian economy gets suffered. By 1931, British completely delinked the rupee with the silver and started controlling its value. And because of that, India lost all its monetary freedom.
I am to be the last Viceroy of India, and I shall...
In 1947, we got independence, but our economy was completely destroyed. Back then, on paper, 1 rupee equals $1, but our country was struggling. We don't have any foreign reserves, we don't have any industrial base, and our financial system was completely broken. Indian economy had to rebuild its nation from scratch, and we continued to rebuild the nation till 1962. Then rupee again fell from 4 rupees to 7 rupees. It means before 1962, if you want to buy $1, you have to pay only 4 rupees. But after 1962, you have to pay 7 rupees to buy $1. And look at this example, how this is going to impact our trade system with the world. Let's say you are a trader from the India and you import wheat from the US. In 1965, $1 equals 4 rupees. You bought 1 ton of wheat from the US and the price is $100 per ton. You have to pay 400 rupees 1 ton of the wheat. Now suddenly government devaluated Indian currency. Rupee crashed from 4 rupees to 7 rupees now. But now you have to pay 7 rupees to buy $1. So now cost rises to the 700 rupees. To buy 1 ton of the wheat, you have to spend 700 rupees. And it is the price hike of the 57%. Same wheat, same price in dollars, but you pay 57% more in rupees. That's what happened when rupee price falls. Imports became more expensive, businesses struggle, and ultimately you pay the higher prices for everything. Because we have war with the Pakistan and China between 1962 and 1965, the government started spending billions on defense. But here is the biggest problem. India don't have the money. Foreign reserves are started drying up. Imports started getting expensive. The economy is on verge of collapse. And India approaches the International Monetary Fund (IMF) for help. But IMF is not a charity. It comes with the conditions. And the IMF asks the India to devalue its currency. The Indian government don't have any choice. They have to devalue its currency. And in the overnight, Indian currency slashed from 4 rupees 76 paisa to 7 rupees 50 paisa for $1. A massive 57% drop. Imports became more expensive. The cost of living shot up. And first time in history, India realized Indian currency is not as strong as they thought. It's 1991. India is on the brink of the collapse. Imagine this. India have only 2 weeks left before India runs out of foreign reserves. That means we don't have any money to import oil or pay debts. No money to keep our economy running. That's what happened to us in 1991. India is about to bankrupt in 1991 just because for years India followed closed economic model, which means high government control, heavy restrictions on imports and limited foreign investments. But back then this system was crumbling Indian economy just because the Gulf War made oil prices shot up and Indian imports became more expensive and foreign investors lost their confidence on Indian economy. And India had no option back then. The Indian government was forced to pledge 67 tons of gold with IMF just to secure an emergency loan, and that crisis made the India to take bold steps. India changed its policies and India started allowing foreign companies to start business in India, and India removed the restrictions on businesses. But there was a cost. To meet IMF conditions, the rupee was devalued twice. Rupee fallen from 17 rupees to 32 rupees per $1. Imports became even more expensive. Inflation hit our country so hard and middle class struggled. But in 2008, a strange thing happened.
Traders are standing there watching in amazement, and I don't blame them. We're now down.
And it shook the global economies. Lehman Brothers, one of the biggest bank on the world, declared bankruptcy, and it created a ripple effect. Lot of banks started collapsing in the world. Stock market crashed and trillions of dollars vanished overnight. This was a financial earthquake which shook Indian economy as well. Foreign investors started panicking and they start withdrawing money from Indian stock market. They had pumped billions of dollars to Indian markets, but now they want their money back fast. And massive withdrawals came from Indian stock market. Foreign funds started leaving India record high just because these guys want their money in dollars. So they started selling rupees to buy dollars. Demand for dollar went extremely high. As a result, rupee crashed like never before. Rupee fallen from 39 rupees to 52 rupees per dollar. In just a month, 30% drop on Indian rupee value. And because of this, imports became more expensive, food and fuel prices skyrocketed, and businesses struggled. Then other biggest crash happened between post-COVID and Russia-Ukraine war. In February 2022, Russia invades the Ukraine, and this wasn't a war between two countries. It is an economic earthquake. Oil prices skyrocketed again. Russia is one of the largest oil producer. This war disrupted the oil supply chain in the world. And guess what? the oil price hits $100 per barrel. More money started leaving India to just pay for imports. Inflation started rising, the rupee started falling drastically. In 2025, rupee again started falling. Many people think the biggest reason behind rupee fall is inflation and government policies. But the reason is FIIs, foreign institutional investors.
FIIs continue to hold approximately $800 billion worth of Indian equities.
They're pulling their money out of India. Because of that, Nifty fell 12% from past 6 months. But why FIIs are selling Indian market? Let me break it down with a simple example. In 2022, a Canadian pension fund saw the Indian markets are undervalued. They decided to invest $100 million on Indian market. To invest in Indian stocks, they need Indian rupees. So they went to the Reserve Bank of India and given $100 million. In 2020, for every dollar, they get 76 rupees. They give $1 million to Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India gives them 76 million rupees as an exchange. With 76 million rupees, they bought shares in Nifty 50. Over 5 years, Nifty 50 doubled. Now their 76 million grown to 152 million rupees. Now they decided to sell their shares and take money back to the Canada. But here is the biggest problem. Since they made profit on Indian market, Indian government charged 12.5% capital gain tax, and because of that, they lost 19 million rupees on their 152 million. After tax, they left with the 133 million Indian rupees. But here is the biggest problem again. In 2020, for every dollar, they get 76 rupees. But in 2025, the exchange rate changed. Rupee price has been depreciated, and now FIS has to pay 87 rupees to get $1. Because of this, FIS lost $220,000 just because this currency depreciation. First they taxed, and then this currency depreciation affected them again. These are the biggest problems these FIS are facing currently. And look at this clip.
FIIs and FPIs may come and go.
Our finance minister says FIIs may come and go. Indian investors are shock observers. But people, Indian investors came to market after 2020 crash. Before that, these FIIs are the backbone of the Indian stock markets and Indian economy. They are the one investing on Indian business from decades. If our finance minister talk like that, why do they stay? And one more major reason behind FIIs leaving India is the interest rates on US went high. Now they will get 4.6% interest on their home countries only. Why do they have to invest in other countries? Meanwhile, they have risk of currency depreciation and market fluctuation. So FIIs are taking their money to their home countries to eliminate these all risks. And remember, when they invest on Indian markets, Indian rupee will be appreciated. And when they exit the Indian markets, Indian rupee will be depreciated. Just because when they need rupees, they give dollars. But when they want dollars, they sell the rupees they have. So that's when our currency will depreciate. Our government has to support these FIIs. It is important to encourage the FIIs to stay in our markets. And if we see in 2025 alone, FIIs sell 1 lakh crores from Indian markets. It's around $12 billion. This massive outflow raises concerns. Is history repeating again? Because in 2022, FIIs sold almost 2.8 lakh crores, which will be around $34 billion. The stock market seen the massive volatility in 2022. Now again it's falling. Nifty fell 12% in 6 months. Apart from FIIs selling, there are two more concerns which are affecting Indian rupee. One, Trump's tariff hike.
If you don't make your product in America, however, under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff.
Trump, American president, he increased the tariffs on different nations. The US planning to increase tariffs on Indian goods, and it will make exports more expensive, and it will reduce the dollar inflow to the India. When we have less dollars in our nation, it will make rupee more weaker, and falling rupee isn't about just inflation. It's a big economic warning sign. With FIIs pulling out money, oil getting expensive, and exports slowing down, the rupee under serious pressure. But why should you care for these all things? You have to care. Just because end of the day, the things you use daily become more expensive because of this currency depreciation, especially fuel prices. This continues, India could see higher food and fuel prices, more expensive imports, and the stock markets will struggle. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and make sure you guys like and subscribe and hit on the bell icon. Thank you for watching.